Excuse me. Four. There we go. So what I learned recently is that we can, for a lot of the ends of clothing, we might as well just cap them because that way it prevents like uh, floaters and stuff like that. So it would be a good technique. Watching someone break down how Assassin's Creed tends to do this effect. They just cap it. So I'm not sure if I really enjoy the um, triangle cap. Looks a little bad. But at the same time, work. Be the best way to. It's tricky. Let's just start with this one. Yeah, there we go. Boom. All right, nice and clean. Goodness. I almost died. Hmm. Probably combine. Let's just see what it looks like. So if I take segment, it wants to fill up this little spot here. I just won't be able to get the resolution I need. As weird as it is, I think we will keep it separate for now. Just let's see what happens. This music going. All right, everything's unwrapped except for this little bit at the bottom. Let's just finish this up. Happens if not too shabby. Okay. This is the leg. The arm. This way, actually. Just gonna mimic the usual layout I do. As on the mirror, I'm going to be flipping on the U so we get a symmetrical unwrap. Just do it from scratch with an average. Legs still big. Don't have head. Everything up to the top. Move the collar right in here. That. Hello. Hello, Era. Welcome. Good morning. You're hella quiet today? I turned off my music. Unless my microphone got adjusted or something. Let's see. But also, hello, Era. How are you doing? Maybe that's a little bit better. I can barely hear you. My normal volume, as far as I can tell. And we'll move this over here. There. Boom. And we'll just fill up this space with the arm as we can. And we'll have to shrink the leg down a little. Guess I might as well just do this. Not perfect by any means, but it will do. How's life been treating you, Era? Up to anything fun? I exist. Okay. Let's jump into save this. Oh, well, we finally switched over to doing some D&D products, so we're working on some elf characters right now. Okay, so we'll close this now. Let's open the Unity project. Let's get these exports set up for the collections. We'll do our standard FBX collection export. Just need to get the path. Bam, that. Fix that here and just do body suit underscore HP, which is low poly lp.fbx. That. Go to here. Enable the same stuff and just paste it and rename. All right. Maybe I should switch this to relative. And I could come up with a much simpler naming convention. Whatever. For now, it works. And we'll go ahead and export our collections. Go to Substance. Do new, select, source outfits. Oh, I save them here. It's not an issue. Yeah. Had to think about that a few times. Save. Now it'll be wrong. Outfits. Be body, health, bodysuit, email. Save. Health, bodysuit. Oh. Switch that to 2K. Then code bake. We'll get our files in. There's the high poly. We don't need to worry about naming for this one. Bake out 4K with diffusion. We can just adjust this till it fits nicely right there. Save. Bake. Interesting. We're missing a lot of the beveled edges. that I was hoping would show up on the high poly. Because we're seeing only the texture there. We need to add the solidify and export again. Save. And mode bake. There we go. Well, all right. Nothing looks too bizarre. Some standard stuff. A little bit of clipping right here. Something. Might be the solidify poking through. Oh, we should have capped the top here. All right, let's add leather. I used to have a synthetic leather one. I liked that one. I don't know where it went. Load in. Tile it maybe 3 times. Switch it to a triplanar. Tile it again. Hello, Popstar. Welcome. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I don't like this at all. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to start from scratch. So we'll do a base color. Need something dark like this with some nice matte look to it. Maybe just a little bit of there. And we'll call this body suit base. Then on top of this, we'll do some templates. We have a noise texture right here we can start with. Widget do triplanar. Pilot 50 times. Something like that where the tiling isn't quite as obvious. Maybe we use a different noise. Let's try blue noise. That. Let's get a little bit of it. Okay. Let's also do our favorite template flat curve AO. Get some shadows in there. Definitely turn the blur way down. May even just get rid of it entirely this time around. Switch it to linear. Just get rid of it for now, and then also add the AO in. shouldn't. What's causing that? See, look, this is the unprocessed curvature. It always looks way better. Just need to start using that more often. Manually adjusting things. It is a mask, so let's look at it from the mask point of view. I think we want to invert it. What the? That doesn't matter. So, hello, Ken. Welcome. See the man. Hello, welcome. We're working on this bodysuit right now. Getting it set up. Adding some fun little details right now. Hard on this to... Almost all of it was made in Marvelous Designer, so we got a lot of these really nice wrinkles here. I love. Ignore the cap there. That's the part that won't be seen. And hey there, Popstar. Am I still super quiet? Because Era said I was very quiet. How's my sound coming out? Does everyone hear me? Excuse me. Kinda interesting. I wonder what's breaking, because it looks fine on my end. My mic's on. Toglets. Check properties. Filters. How are those? Is that better? Mic volume in Windows. Interesting. Maybe up the gain. I did just turn it up a little more on my microphone. Is that better? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, it is really tiny right there. Get out of here. Volume. Hello, hello. There it is. Interesting. Way better. Good. I don't know what was going on. I've never done anything to adjust that. Okay, well, let me know if I'm too loud now. It's a little quiet. I think I may have Cave get Substance Designer since it's been around longer. Has some more bells and whistles with it. I haven't fully decided though. Got a bit of an echo now. We'll turn it back down a little. I did pump up the gain quite a bit, so we'll try to set that back to what it was before. And then I think I had some filters on. How's that? Am I back to being better? Oh, sorry, Ken. Yeah, my my mic was busted a little. Now it's louder, much better. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think YouTube's lagging a little bit behind, but in terms of sound. Ooh, that does not look very good. I can also do a paint, set it to pass through, and then we can use our blur to smudge out some of these details here. Should I say hi on Twitch? You're always welcome to. Almost always does lag behind, sometimes a full minute or two. I'm like 50% decided, 50% not decided. We can always you can do the subscription. I don't know if there's older versions of Substance Designer out there. Honestly, you might be able to do a lot of things with Blender that you're trying to do in Substance. Well, no, not really. Instamat's really the only alternative I've used that I've enjoyed as a procedural texture. I think we can adjust this a bit more with our levels by just pushing this down. Kind of. There we go. Right about there. We don't need it that strong, so we'll just switch it to overlay for now, or I guess just normal and turn down the blend. We just want a little bit. Just give it that pop. Give that a nice pop. Remember now, I preferred YouTube because no ads here. Even a sub on Twitch has ads, unfortunately. Fuck you, Twitch. Fuck you. Yeah, Twitch is a bit of a bummer sometimes. Then at the same time, it's like freaking YouTube was telling me like, oh, at one point you had copyrighted music, here's a strike. And I was like, just can't win. Really just can't win with this stuff. Gotta go. Talk to you later. Sounds good, Era. Enjoy your day. Hope you're having a good one. I'll be around, so hope to see you soon. Bye, Hera. Bye. All this micro grain. We'll do another noise right here for roughness. And adjust that to triplanar. bit like that. Maybe tile it. Just want some more micro details. Build that up. No, it's not. It's just after considering for a bit, Instamat has a lot of bugs to work out. And Substance Designer has some bells and whistles that are not in Instamat. This is character one you're making for that game you mentioned a few days ago, or for someone. This will be for my set of products. So this will be a VTuber and VR chat avatar people will be able to purchase, is the goal. Do something like that. Yeah, this is that female elf that I was working on. We're just getting her outfit set up right now. Sneeze. Whew, maybe not. Okay, so we still need some more micro details. Let's add. So this one was kind of the splotchy roughness variation. We'll do another noise. We'll do swap out this for a scratch. We'll do something like this. Set it to triplanar. Scale it down, maybe 4 times, 6 times, something like that. Push the balance around. Scratch quantity. Turn that down. Right there. Blur them a little. Then we'll just go just to height for right now and just kind of push them in a little. Maybe still a little bit more quantity-wise. So I'm fully made up my mind, but I will later. For now, I'm still deciding. I would say, you know, if it's too expensive, it might be easier to just work around what Instamat has to offer. Let's see. Open source procedural textures. Texture Lab. So these might be some good alternatives here. Texture Lab. That's not quite what we're looking for. Texture Lab. Let's try that. Texture Lab. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. Open source alternative for making beautiful, tileable, physically based textures. I'll drop that in chat for you. This might be something I play around with too. Hello, Arctic. Good morning. They're definitely riffing off Substance Designer's UI almost exactly. So this is like an open source recreation of Substance Designer. So funny. But good morning, Arctic. Hello, hello. We're working on our bodysuit for this character, for our elf character. Let's add the environment in, because it's a little hard to see this. Can't say that I'm enjoying that right now. Let's just turn it off and add a new noise. We'll do these cell cracks instead. Might just give it a nice cracked texture. So triplanar. Let's turn up the height or turn down the height. Need to invert this. Tile it, let's say 8 times. Okay, that's definitely looking a lot more like leather now. Might even add a warp to this. Go just the slightest amount, maybe turn down the intensity. Not quite doing what I want. The cracks here, the curve highlight, I'm going to turn on height. Or no, not the curve highlight. The curve shadow. Well, nah, take that back. Meh. I feel like we need some material variation between the paneling. Oh. Ugh. Maybe a little bit of metallic. Just like a twinge, a touch of it. Does look a bit better without the highlight. Get rid of the scratches. Yeah, it's a little close to what I'm imagining now. Maybe up those cells one more time. I need to figure out a way to get rid of the distortion. There. All right, let's go back to Blender. And we're going to select some stuff. Okay, some odd colors, but this will let us have some selections in the bodysuit. So we'll go to mode, bake. I only need to rebake my ID map. Bake. Did I bake it? I think so. I think I see some red in there. So turn. All right. And now let's do a template flat to start with. Put it below the shadow. Do I color these? Perfect. Won't actually be. Whatever color it is. All right, color selection, sample, do this one. And what I'd like to do is simply just make it a bit darker to start with. this cuff up here. Anchor point below this. Actually, I don't need an anchor point. But we'll take the eye sub bevel right here. We'll call this neck shadow. And we're going to use, instead of a fill, let's do the same color selection. Then use our bevel to give it kind of a shadow, like so. Just super nice because we can do something like take the height and push it down. Just imply this like lip or edge. Cool. Do a 0.5 blur on both of these. Just so it's not so jagged. And on here, we'll also take the roughness and push it down so the shadow is a lot more noticeable. Suppose I don't mind that. Maybe not quite as dark. Ooh! Just a mild roughness difference. Feels pretty good. Cool. We'll give that a shot. Call this rough or panel roughness. And you know what? We'll also go to the shadow here, and I'm gonna add that to the color selection as well. Oh, you know what? So it'll need to be separate. Duplicate, neck shadow, panel shadow. Just swap this. Take that bevel, turn it distance. Smoothing. Yeah, that's okay. That's a lot closer to what I was imagining. Where it just kind of pops out. Boom. Boom. Okay, so shadowing is going to be our main method to do that, I think. Oh, sorry, getting a phone call. One moment. All right, I'm back. I guess I want to imply two different types of leather, or I don't know. I don't know. Just want it to have like a fun, very textured appearance. Hmm. Okay, let's do some stitching. Turn down, turn up the spacing. Wait, why not adjusting the? And then I'll probably need to step away to make another phone call in just a second. I want to get this in. Well, that's quite satisfying, to be honest. But that's annoying. This is very slightly different. And that's because Marvelous Designer does not output symmetrical results. So I need to get rid of the mirror. And we're just going to make another. We're just going to make another path. So we'll just say duplicate. Move this here. And just move them over. I like that. I like that mucho. Color-wise, dark or light? And height, go in or out? Oh yeah, I like that a little bit more. Maybe not quite as strong. Oh yeah. Me gusta. The paths really could use some better settings. There's a few really annoying aspects about them. Ooh. And then this roughness variation. Let's try slightly higher frequency. I'm not really enjoying that anymore. Do maybe something just a little fractal sun. Yeah, that looks a little nicer. Just a little nicer, and I think that's to mask it out. Which actually isn't helpful to me. I'd rather know exactly the level of roughness that I'm infusing this with. Maybe I could do another. You know what? Doesn't matter. I will add another fill. I'll set it to subtract. Do another noise. Something with very high frequency, either this or I like the cells actually. There, and then turn that tiling way up. So we're just getting these little. All right. I like it. And I'd like to do some more motifs, little patterns and stuff. So let's see what else we do. We added stitches, and we do more. So do another template flat right here. My eyeball. And of course we'll add a paint. I wish the path and paint layers were separate. I don't know why they have to be the same layer. And let's switch to gradient and tell it to rotate 90 degrees. Interesting. Now we should be able to adjust this spacing. Not quite. Gorgeous. And if I gave this some height, make it a little darker, metallic, shiny. Perfect. Nice, we get this nice beveled edge. Okay, I think that's what I was hoping for. This might be useful for the height. So we'll call this metal motif. We're going to add an anchor point. We're going to duplicate this whole thing. This one is just going to be the height. This one would be material properties. And we're actually going to put both of them into the same layer. Okay. So here, instead of using a path, we'll use an anchor point that we just made. And we'll use a filter, a levels, to ensure we're making a full selection of that. And then this one just controls the height. Right. Everything else should be a little cleaner, and then we can just kind of blur this slightly. Just to alias that edge. Then going back to the path. We could turn down size. This path. Interesting. It's really not as clean as I'd want it to be. You know what? I could always add that in Blender and bake it again. So I don't even know. I don't even want to do it here because I will just get much better results if I add that kind of motif in Blender instead. Even the stitching would be a lot easier to add because then it's just an ID sample. I don't have to use substances paths. I can just use this one. You get the picture. All right, let's try just some other tweaks. So we'll call this and we'll add a fill. That fill. kind of emboss things, which is always fun. And then, of course, we would like to make sure that's only showing up in certain spots. We'll just have to do just a planar projection and repeat none. And then this one we should be able to mirror. Fine. Fingers crossed. Set this to linear dodge. And now we can just kind of try to find some fun spaces for these. So we can do this larger pattern. I kind of like it in here. All right, we're getting some cool stuff now. This is going to be awesome. All right, but I do need to make a phone call. I'll be back. And excuse me. Why isn't it showing up there? Must be need to be on this side. Yeah. Probably need to switch it to a cylindrical projection over here. And let's make sure the timeline is set to 1. Nice. Okay, that's kind of cool. Just like this really stretched out thing there, but we're gonna crop it. So just here. I would kind of prefer that this pauldron shape didn't do what it's doing. That's okay. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. So yeah, I want a lot more details like that everywhere. So we'll add another fill, set it to linear dodge, set it to planar for now. And we're just gonna find fun patterns to slap on things. So I have another, it's like a lingerie pattern, lace. So let's search. But of course, they are not alpha maps, which is what I need. Got a bunch of techwear alphas, but that's not. There's definitely a fantasy theme, so. Wow, that's interesting. I like that. I don't really like the swirls. Oh, that's fascinating. Smudge along path. Hmm. Pressure. Ah, that's okay. That's what I've been looking for. So you can adjust pressure. And then they do actually have very direct tangents. Okay. All right. All right. That's much better than I thought. Because that means we can do stuff like recreate the same thing we had before, metal motif. Again. I know. I know. Just thinking about it. Just thinking about it. Yeah, if we had a paint, and we had a path, let's do something like this. Right now we're using this gradient linear. Let's just use an alpha shape, like say thorn. It's usually the one I like using. Bam, and then we can just turn the spacing to basically 0. Okay, but while I have this select, so if I select a point, that adjusts everything, but spacing, size, but this one adjusts on a per point basis. We can only make things thinner, but even still, that's incredibly useful to start making some interesting patterns. We'll call this metal motif origin, origina. Sorry, just origin. Add an anchor point. Go to template flat, put up top. So this will be metal motif properties, because this one will only be right. All right. So we go here, we add the fill, and the fill, we add the anchor point, and then we do a levels to push it to the maximum value, maybe not maximum, something like that. And then we'll just do a little blur to get rid of it. Or actually, there is an anti-aliasing. And lastly, a mirror. Oh, I have to mirror here. Okay. do a color selection, and we're going to sample this red and set it to multiply. Bam. Actually, I have no idea what I want to do with that, but so far I'm just pleased to know that I can mess around with it a little bit easier. Don't have a game plan for what the design's going to be, though. Yeah, we'll just leave those off for right now. But good to know I can adjust the sizing. That's super, super useful. Do a bit of that. I also have wrinkles. Or folds. What are they? Forget their name. They're like named something stupid. It's like DB or something. Good God, please load. Doesn't save these thumbnails anywhere, just has to generate them each time from scratch. Where are they? I know I have. Oh. The lace I need to convert. All of them. Actually, I should be able to. I must have removed them. Oh, no, there they are. OM. That's what they are. Right when I said that. Perfect. So. That right here. Call it wrinkles. And actually just drag out another one. Just height, maybe a little AO, a little bit of color, a bit of roughness, something like that. And then we do a fill. Pretty sure I could make some better wrinkles than this now. Being a little finicky with some of this stuff, but we're just experimenting right now. Let's do, on the metal motif, we did add the path initially. Let's try adding a fill. And we'll do something like this one. Set it to a cylindrical projection. No repeat and crop to shape. Shrink it down. Rotate it. For the height on this one, we'll switch to height. We'll say place. So yeah. That's because I added it here as well. Just want it. Strange. That's because of the folder structure. Height blending is so weird when it comes to how you put your folders together. It's always taken me a long time to adjust to. There we go. Should be shinier than this. It's different about the roughness. Let's do maximum roughness for this. And fart around. Ah, there we go. The panel roughness is messing with it. But no more. No longer. There we go. Some of the details are really getting blown out here because of how I've set this up. I think we should just keep this one off for right now. Cool. Very, very beautiful. All right. Call this emboss. And we'll switch it up and do something slightly different. Eh. I want it on this. So I'm going to copy. So we have the emboss for the lower. So we'll call this emboss base leather. We're going to duplicate the whole thing and then do emboss upper leather. And for our color selection, we'll switch it to light linear dodge instead. I'm gonna hide this one real quick. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Get rid of that. And I think that's still not quite working. My subtract should have done it. All right. Almost. Color selection. Actually, yeah, we can do multiply. Then we just want to switch these colors like that. And then here, I can get rid of this one. Bam. So we just have this right here. So I like that. Ooh. You know what? Maybe cheat a little bit. Let's see if it does this properly. Generate a black and white alpha mask of an elegant floral stamp. This will be in some sense. Sure, let's give that a shot. Have it generate something for us. Just kind of curious how that will come out. Gotta head out for now. Work is calling me. Well, good luck with your work, Ken. Thanks for hanging out. And hopefully we'll catch you tomorrow, if not later today. Actually, no, I won't be doing a second stream. I'm kind of moving my schedule, so I'll just be doing one big stream a day and just starting earlier. But either way, thanks again for hanging out, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye, Ken. Bye. Give it a more refined elven theme. Think. What else to add? Let's do more stitches while we're waiting on that to load. So we'll go to our path, take the first one, duplicate, and then we're gonna take these, delete them, move this point up here, and we're gonna do a stitch around the shoulder here. Doesn't actually make much sense, but that's okay. We're allowed to do things that don't make sense. I think I can mirror it though. Okay, so do it again. It does feel a little bit nicer. Like a secondary pattern. I want some wrinkles under the butt cheek. Already got rid of my wrinkles though. Okay. We could swap the color we're picking to this one and then do this, and that should keep it in the same spot, but allow me to put it around the neck, which it is. I don't know. Is that what we want? Oh, I see. Our height thing got changed. There we go. Okay, look kind of different. Important that we have spots where eyes can rest. We don't want to go overboard adding details everywhere. Otherwise, it's going to get difficult to visualize. All right, why don't we leave it here for now? And let's focus on getting everything we've made into excuse me, into Unity. So we've got our character, and we're going to call this elf bodysuit email. Save that. And we'll want to mark this as an asset. Save it. Go to shading, substance right here. Wish you could have multiple export profiles. Can I not add? Save. Perfect. Save it right here. Back to Blender. I'm gonna Shift Control T. Or is it Control T? There we go. Textures. Just grab all these. Bada boom. Just want to get rid of displacement because that's too much. Alpha, we don't need. Don't need displacement. Great. That looks really cool. Save that. We've marked it as an asset. Let's rename it. Elf. Let's actually just leave it as bodysuit. Yeah. Okay. Something like that. Save it. Back to Penelope. Taken 1 million years. Reap. Actually, when you go back to bodysuit, open up our asset browser, and in here, we go to outfits. Run assigned first. Take the bodysuit and put that in outfits. I wonder how I can turn that off. it's a shader setting. Dithered. Ray trace transmission. I have to go back to the hair material and adjust it there. Okay, so hair materials. Click. 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 Save. No difference. That's okay. It could be a little bit shinier. Now it's picking up a ton of ambient light. Actually, no, that looks good. So annoying. Blender viewport Z fighting. There we go. So much better. She's looking good. Like this could be a little cleaner. We need like an edge here. Yeah. Okay. So when we update the mesh, we're going to make sure that we have a border here and here as well. To do that, we're actually just going to extrude the mesh in and then cap it. Because we want it to look like this. Look how beautiful that looks. Nice. Well, that's a little gross, but shouldn't fill up the hand quite like that. Feet. The border looks nice. We're getting some clipping now. Probably make the embossing a little bit darker. And maybe not as deep. Gee. This is probably going to break, but I want to turn on the rig, parent this to the rig as well. It's gonna not do that. As I need to do an object, make library override, print it, and add the mirror, orchard form. There's no vertex groups. Why would there be no vertex groups? Move your chamber. Okay. Sorry, buddy. Oops. So for the data transfer, we should be able to do body low, generate the data layers, make sure we put this. Be nice before the mirror. Either way, or after. That should have moved it. Right, I can't generate the data layers from here. Okay, so let's go back to the bodysuit. Say, we're going to do file import FBX. Go to where did I put it? Right here, empty avatar. And generate data layers. Does this not have any vertex groups? I guess it doesn't. It's so weird. Why doesn't it? Whatever. So delete this. Back to Penelope. Okay. So what we'll want to do instead, well, I guess I could have just imported the model from Unity. Okay, just copy this. It's probably going to bring in a million things. Yes, it did. I only want body source. Yeah, delete all these. All right. Now we can sample it. Data transfer like so. And then we just want to apply this one. Oh, actually, undo that. Set this to nearest face interpolated. Apply. Hello, Rashad. I've never heard of Texture Lab until now. How is it compared to Substance Designer or other open source versions like Material Maker? Personally, I'm not familiar with it. But earlier, Popstar was just asking some questions about what options were available. So they're considering getting Substance Designer, but of course it's expensive. So I was just Googling some options. But I have not used Texture Labs or Material Maker. Excuse me. Perfection. Okay, good. We're looking really good right now. Let's turn on all the hairs and just export with AutoRig Pro, FBX. Boom. But I'll have to give it a shot because honestly, Instamat, like Popstar was saying earlier, Instamat's kind of a pain, really. It wants to be something big, it has potential for it, but the workflows don't feel thought out, honestly. Still loading. All right, I was using ChatGPT earlier for a alpha texture. It's okay. It's not bad, actually. I'll take that. Uh-oh. That looks like it's broken. Something went wrong. It's probably the data transfer there, so let me redo this. I use Material Maker to experiment with things, plus it has Godot and Unreal exports. Okay, heck yeah. Let me Google that real quick. Excuse me. Oh. That looks pretty good, honestly. That certainly looks usable. I'll probably next time I need some procedural textures, I'll probably give that a shot. And then we'll create a new folder for body suit. E. Boom, boom. And we'll switch over to Poyomi. Poyomi. Save. Over here. And we'll go to the mesh. And on the bodysuit, we'll of course apply our material, which is going to look totally incorrect and kind of scary. And then we can start replacing the textures with the correct ones. Boom. Boom. And boom. And then okay, the overall metallic is definitely a little too strong. But she looks cool. Look at them toes! Still a little bit of clipping right here on the foot. She's looking good though. Nice. Looking at some different lighting scenarios. Definitely a little too metallic, so go here. Say 0.05 for the metallic. Switch to the metallic map. Export again. Finger wiggle. Let's see what it looks like. Doesn't look any different. So maybe it's not the metallic that's making it so dark. It could just be the smoothness. No, it's definitely the metallic, but... Oh, I dropped in the normal map. Okay, well that explains it. It's like, it just looks weird. Yeah, that was the wrong texture. Okay. Okay. Good stuff. More details to add. We're going to start blocking out the armor in just a moment. She's going to have some pauldrons, or one pauldron on one side, kind of this long. Let me just show you the concept. So we're going for something similar to this. Obviously, she doesn't have the boob window. We've adjusted some stuff already. Maybe I'll use a... Yeah, I definitely want the armor like this. I think that looks cool. Maybe some more belts. Maybe I'll still give her a boob window. I don't know. I haven't decided. Maybe variation. Definitely want to start giving her some piercings and stuff on her ears. I think that'll look really nice. Oh. What are we at vertex count wise? We're already at 65,000. Oh, that's with both hairs, though. Let's get down to one. It's still getting close to our limit. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to head to the restroom. Then when we get back, we'll start blocking out the armor. BRB. All right. Cold. So, those. Those! um, hmm. What's next? I guess just working on the armor. Hmm. How much space do we have on our Eufy map? Decent amount. Okay. I think we can do the rest. Most of the rest of this in our setup here. So what are we going to do? We're going to make some like knee pads, basically. Another mirror. And in here we'll add hidden. Make a empty, which we'll call mirror origin. this, duplicate this, do the pauldron one, turn off the secondary mirror. Okay, there's another one. Actually, for this one, we're going to set it to 0. And we're going to make an array. Yeah. Let's not do relative, we'll just do constant. It's a bit of a pain to dial it in when things keep changing every time you adjust something. Okay. So we got that. Let's do, and then we'll add a curve deform on the y-axis. And of course, we'll add a curve. Okay, take this curve. It's not the orientation I expected. Obviously, you would never want a point, sharp point on your pauldron, but I think it looks cool, so we're going to keep it. Maybe here, so you can punch people. But Main thing we're missing right now is a weapon. Now that I think about it, though, when it does come to the weapons, we would want them to be modular. Like, we would want to think about what the weapon is, how it's going to be holstered, and then just ensuring we can put that on a few different characters. So, like, with a sword, we'd have a belt, a belt holster, or whatever. Something to a belt for the sword. So that should be something we can just add. So it almost makes sense to do it not necessarily separately, but yeah, interesting. I'd want to make them flat, because then I can want to make the high poly and the low poly in a way where it's just like a flat version of them, super simple, and then I can use a curve to adjust the belt, get it positioned perfectly, and then something to position the scabbard and sword. Yeah. Okay, let's do a little mock-up of the sword really quick. Obviously, we'd need the belt. Probably be about that long. That'd be the belt. Gonna give her a shield? Probably should. Well, she's got the shield arm. Well, again, I can always make the shield. And it should be modular enough where someone, if they want to use it or not, they'll have it. All right. So now, good stuff. Start kind of seeing where we would place these things. Left-handed, right-handed. All right. Our little mock-up is looking pretty good. Cool. Go back to Penelope, the little kit bash version I made. Oh, right. Shoes. It's shaped a lot more. So we'll do some screenshots. The reference, and I'll make a folder for the kit bash. It's getting crowded in here. Ooh. And then on my other screen, I'm going to open up that reference. Oh. Oh. What I do like about the other version I have of this is the way it kind of cups the shoulder. I think that's kind of a good look. So I don't even know if it's realistic in the sense like needs to cup it that way, just that it looks nice. We'll duplicate the whole thing. Cool. What I liked about this one, the slightly rounded plates. That's good. The realism of having a point here does bother me a little bit. I think I'm gonna do that. It's just like you'd like if you extended your arm out and try to like move it up, you would just stab yourself quite a few times. That will we'll make that a little bit more kosher. One second now. All right.
Oopsies. Texted you instead of
All right, everyone. I think we're going to shut down the morning stream for now. Actually, just the only stream for today. For anyone that's used to an afternoon stream, we're kind of switching schedules a little bit. I'm waking up a lot earlier, so we're going to be pulling the schedule forward. We're doing just one really long stream. But we're going to call it here for now. I'll probably do some videos in the afternoon and upload those, so keep an eye out for those. But thank you all for hanging out. Super, super pleased with how she's coming along. I think the outfit's coming together super well. We did this nice little bodysuit. We've got everything in Unity looking super nice. Can't wait for further developments. But thank you again for hanging out with me. Hope you all have an amazing day. I'll see you tomorrow for Thursday. Bye.